Okay, so I'll create a new project so that it will get brush it up for you. It will be very quick. Okay, so I'll be starting a new project. The Django admin start project tasks, or I can say tasks manager. Okay, task manager is, yeah, task manager is a good word. So I'm starting an project. Sorry, now it says Django Django. Yeah, Django. Yes, Django admin start project. I have started an app. So cd task manager. Okay, if I put dir over here, it will show you that manage.py and task manager folder is there. Now in this, let's say I want to have an app called as tasks. So I'll create an app over here, Django admin, manage.py, tasks is my app. No Django setting specified. Right, Django admin help. But what's the wrong thing I'm doing over here? It's a very simple thing. With Django admin, I can start a project, but I can't start an app. So to start an app, there is a command. What's the command is? The command is python manage.py, right? So whenever I'm using Python, whenever I'm interacting with manage.py, I need to type Python. So Python manage.py start app, okay, task. Python is not recognized. Python, I'm making some mistakes over here. Python. Okay. Yes. After so many mistakes, I finally have created uh, an project and an app inside it. So it's pretty obvious that you people will also feel that you are making mistakes, and making mistake is not a crime. I do it, right? But from mistakes, I'm learning it. So as like you, I'm also a learner, right? So let's go ahead with this. So I'm just closing my older project and I'm starting with my new project. So let's check whether the project is fine or not by running it. So just simply type run server. Okay, so this is a way how you run an Django project. Now if I press enter over here, it's a default Django page. Now my project is okay, right? Just control C and start coding it. Code dot, right? I came over here. It's the welcome page. I don't want to see this anymore. So I have started this app, right? What I need to do very first thing, I need to go to settings, and in installed apps, I need to mention the name of the app, task or task. Yes, task. Task is the name of my app, right? And then the second thing, I should go to tasks. I should click on task folder, create a new file. The name of the file will be urls.py. In urls.py, I need to enter it like this from the django.urls import path, sorry, path, and then url patterns is equal to an empty list. Now again for this URLs, I'll require views dot from dot import views, right? And here in the main project urls.py, I need to mention it like this. So path in bracket. Let's say if I call nothing, in that case, it should take me to my task dot urls, right? Now here I need to put include, right? INCLUDE, INCLU. Okay. So this was a thing which we studied in the last session. Now let's start coding it. So I said that there will be a list of tasks, okay, which I will be able to see if I go to my home page. And if I put add, I should get a form where I'll be able to add a task, right? So let's write a view for it for that. So I'm in the urls.py. First of all, I'll write a view and then I'll make an entry. So let's give it a try. Okay. So, let's write index function first. Okay, and in this index function, uh, do I need to pass anything? Right now, as of now, I need not pass anything. Right. So west. Okay. Now I want to display a task, a list of tasks, right? When I visit this particular page, index page. Let's give a list of dummy tasks. For example, I'm writing here task as a list. Okay, and in this list, I am writing a task. Take care at 10 a.m. Okay, this is my first task. My second task will be schedule an exam. Okay, and the third task will be uh, project assigned. Okay, so these are my three tasks. Now I want to display these tasks. Okay, on the page, index page. What should I do? Or for the sake of convenience, let's define this as a global variable. Okay, I've defined it over there. Just remove this line. Now it's pretty clear. Okay. Now in the index, I'm going to return something. Return return render. I'll require a HTML page where I'll show the list, bulleted list of the tasks. Okay. This is a request object I'll pass over here. After passing the request object, I want to render a page task slash index.html. Okay, so I will be writing this page, and to this page I'll be returning a context. So the context is again a dictionary task. Okay, colon. I'll be giving this list to that context. Okay, this is my function. It's pretty simple. Three tasks. I'll pass that particular list of tasks to an index page, and that index page will display that particular those tasks. Now, why I'm taking this example? Last time also I passed some context and I cached it over there. Last time what I passed a string name like Swapnil or Chetan. I mentioned, and it shown me. Now here this tasks is a list. It's an iterable object, iteratable, right? So I can iterate over it. Like how do you display the uh, list? Either you directly print it. So print name of the list tasks. It will print. Just those who don't remember how to do it in Python. So for them, I'm writing it over here. Why it is not getting copied? Yeah. Now this task is shown to me, right? If I print it, print task, okay, it will show me the list. But I don't want to display it like this. I want to display it one by one on the line. So for that, what I'll be doing? I'll be writing a for loop, right? So for task in task, okay, print task. If I do this, you see, I am getting it line by line. Task lecture, schedule an exam, schedule an exam. Okay, complete the project assigned. Right. So this exactly what I want on my HTML page to be shown. Okay, there should be a bullet over here. So that bullet is possible with the help of an HTML tag that I'll be mentioning. But this is what I want to do in my page. Now, what's the use of this? Tomorrow, suppose you are working on some database where there are list of students, okay, and you want to display the list of students. Now the list of students is in the database. I want the list of students of batch B of B computer class. So in the database, all students are there. I need to filter out the list of batch B students. After filtering out, it is going to give me an object, and I should be able to iterate over that object so that I'll be able to display. So how to iterate? That basic thing we are going to see over here. And later on, you can use the same thing to connect it with the database and to populate the list from the, what you can say, object. All right. So let's do it. Uh, as I mentioned, there should be a folder, and inside which there is an index.html folder. Just remember what we have done. We have created a folder over here called as templates, right? Inside the templates, there will be a folder called as this task. And inside this task, there will be a file called as index.html. Okay? You write a file, doc type HTML. Okay, give a tag HTML over here, then give a tag. This is the basic structure of HTML, right? Inside this, give a title of the page, list of okay. After head, give a body. Now here, inside this, we should iterate. How to iterate? What have we done over here? We have used for loop. Here also we will use for loop. So for that, Django template language will help us for task in task. Okay, indentation is not required at all, but still I'm giving an indentation. I'll need to start a unordered list. So ul I type over here. Okay, and now I'll be using an HTML tag li to display a task. So I'll get this task over here. Okay, task. Then I just end for. That's it. Now this is going to give us the list of tasks. What I'm doing, I'm just passing the list of tasks from here. Schedule an exam. Let's correct our mistake. Okay, I'm passing a tasks list from here. In the index, I'll get this particular task list. I'll iterate over it, and I'll fetch one task from it, and this li will be displayed. So after that, let's close this ul. Right now, my task list should get displayed. Right now, just run the server. Manage.py run server. All right. Just displayed. It's not getting displayed. Right? Why it is not getting displayed? In my urls.py, what I have written tasks.url. In this url.py, I haven't written anything, right? So, are you remembering what we have discussed? Your basic tasks manager folders url.py will first receive the request. It will check what's the URL pattern is. URL pattern says there is nothing after the server or the host name. If there is nothing, it will redirect the request to task.url. And here there is a task.url, and in the task.url there is nothing, right? So here I need to mention the path. So just write a path over here. Path. Okay. If there is nothing, then I'll write views dot index. Okay, and name equals to index. Okay, the running list. Now let's refresh this. You see, it shows me the task. It's not giving me the name of the task. What could be the error? Look at this particular code. What I'm displaying over here, I'm displaying a task, right? And if you check over here, as per this syntax, it's correct. For task and task, print task, right? And here it shows me the task, but here in HTML, it is not showing me the task. What's the error? The error is very simple. If you remember, if we want to print the value of any variable in the HTML page, we should use the Django template language syntax. If I do this, is this a syntax of Django template language? No, it's a syntax of HTML. HTML says li means it's a list object, so the bullet will be shown, and inside after that bullet it will be task. It's just a text. I need to refer to this particular task. So to refer to that particular task, double curly bracket is used. Like in last time, we have displayed welcome Chetan, welcome Swapnil. In that case, we have used this double curly bracket, and there we have put the name of the variable which was returned to us in the form of context. Now, if I refresh this particular page, it should show me take lecture at 10 a.m., schedule an exam, complete the project assigned. Right? So this is how you can display the list of objects. Now you can anytime format this page as you want. Like if I want here H1, okay, these are, or you can say this is the list of your tasks. Okay, and if I refresh this is the list of your tasks. This is my task. Suppose I want the list, a numbered list. Okay, I'll say OL because it is ordered list in that case, and then it will show me 1 2 3. This is the list of my task. Now as and when I am going to add a task, a dummy task over here, okay, so give an assignment, assignment, okay, you see fourth task is added, right? Now this is the list of tasks. My next thing is I should be able to add a task, right? Now if I want to add a task, what I require, I require a form, right? I'll require a form. Now if I require a form, what I need to do, I need to write HTML code over here again, right? Now because I require a HTML code over here again, if you observe this, how many lines I actually coded? I coded 3 lines, just 3 lines: for line, task, end for. So all these lines will be common in that particular page also, and these lines also. So out of 16, if I write 3 lines, 13 lines are getting repeated every time, right? So for those 13 lines, we can minimize the task of writing these 13 lines by writing entire code into a one file, just one file. How to do that? See, Django template language is so powerful that it enables us to extend the pages from one to other. And because of that ability, I'll be writing a common template for all my files. Like, suppose you are developing a website where that website has 50 number of pages. Okay. And in those 50 number of pages, the top bar means the header of the website, the footer of the website, and the navigation bar is a common thing. So will you code that header and the navigation and the footer in each and every page like 50 times? Will you do that? If you do that, then suppose you have added a new page into your website, and because you have added a new page into your website, your navigation should have the link of that particular page. In that case, what will you need to do? You will need to do, or you will need to enter the link of that 51st page in all remaining 50 pages. And next time when you again develop or design a 50-second page, you will need to enter the link of that 50-second page in each and every 51 pages, right? So to reduce that task, it's a very simple thing that I'll write a layout page where my header, my footer, and my navigation is coded, and I'm just using that particular layout in each and every of my 52 pages. So as and when a new page get added, I want to add that particular page in navigation bar. I'll go to that layout page and I'll just add a link over there, and it will be included in each and every page. So to do that, there is a simple way. Okay, so you right click on tasks, create a new file. Just now I used the word layout, right? So I'll be giving name layout.html. Okay, this is my empty file. Now, as I have written the code here itself, I'll copy that code and I'll paste it over here. This is my layout. Okay. Now, this is the part which I want to be changed at every time. Okay, means a list of tasks, or let's say this will be the task app. Okay, I'm giving a title of the page. And inside body, when I want to see the task list, I should get the task list over here. If I want to add a task, I should get a form over here inside the body. So for that, there is a simple way. What's the way? Django template language gives you ability to do this or to define a layout. So to do that, curly bracket %, and then you give block, let's say, give a name like body. Okay, I'm giving this name block body in the layout page, and here I'm mentioning end block without space. Okay, now that's it. This is my layout. Okay, how will I use this layout in this index, right? So just remove all these things because it will come from layout itself. And also here, what I need to do, I need to again include in that particular file. So I'll write here extends, okay, in double inverted comma, give the path of that file tasks slash layout dot html. I'm extending it, right? And now give the same thing. Block body. Okay. And here end block. What it will do? It will extend this. Okay, so whatever is written in the layout.html, it will bring it over here. Okay. And in layout.html, it will check, oh, block body is written. So wherever it is written block body, okay, inside it, whatever is there, it will put in this particular file and it will show you. right? If you want to check it, your output. You see, your output is shown like that only. If you check the source code, in the source code, this is shown. Check this. So from your layout, it brought all these things, okay, and remaining things are from your index page. Now we have successfully done this layout kind of a thing, right? Now I want another file to add a task. Okay, so I'll say add dot html. Okay, in add.html again I'll extend it, extend task slash layout.html. Okay, and here I'll say log body. Okay, and okay, in this I'll write task. Okay, for that I'll say form. I'll give a label over here, title, or just write task, and then input type text. Okay, name is equal to task, and then put submit value equal to add task. Okay, now this form is complete and my block is also complete. So I'll write over here. That's it. Okay, my form is completed. But I haven't called this form anywhere, right? So in views, I'll need to write a function to do that. How I'll write diff add request. Okay, what I'll return render, and then request, and return it task slash add.html. Yeah, that's it. Right now I don't want to pass anything to this particular function. Okay, so it should display me the form. Now what is remaining in urls.py? I haven't done any entry. So path, sorry, path. If somebody types add slash after my URL, I'll return views dot add. Okay, and the name of that view will be add. Okay, and this is a running list. Okay, so just give it a try. Server is running slash add slash. What is here? Oh, I have done some mistake, right? Add dot html should be there, and what I have written add comma dot. What? Yes, this is what exactly I want. If you check your source code, you see now tasks app. This title is given in the layout, right? Layout tasks app, but add a task is written in add.html. So that is also shown over here. So this is the beauty of Django templating language. Templating language enables you to use a common structure for entire pages, all the pages of your application. It extends it and it gives you or it returns you. Okay, so now I'm able to do this. Now you see, if I refresh this page, or yes, so this is my form. Now you observe the URL. I'll click on the button. Okay, add task. Just observe the URL. So if I click add task button, it appends question mark task is equal to, means this form is getting submitted, and by default, though I have not written any method of posting this or submitting this form, okay, I have not written any method over here for form. The default method is get method, right? And it is expecting some task to be entered. So let's say I'll enter task 4, and you see the value it sends is task 4. But right now I haven't mentioned, or I haven't uh, written any logic to add a task, right? So like, let's add some code in my views. So add says to add a task. Okay. So to do that, what I need to do, I need to take the parameter, okay, from the list, right? But before that, how the user will come to know to add a task, what URL it should give. So either I mean, I know, because we are developers and we know we have written a function add and the name of the URL is add. How a third party or who has not written a function will come to know that, okay, he should type in URL slash add, and it's very weird to type something in the URL. We want links, right? So how to give links, that we need to check out. Okay, so to give link, very simple thing is write a code ahref. So in index, let's say list of tasks where I'm showing you. Okay, here I want to give a tag. So ahref. Now here we used to give a URL of the page, right? And then uh, add a task is a name of the link. Okay. So if I refresh this page, it will give me a link, add a task, but it will go nowhere because I have not mentioned any URL yet. How to write a URL for this? Okay. To do that, go over here. Okay. And in curly bracket %, you will write URL. Okay. After writing a URL in single inverted comma, because it is surrounded by double inverted comma already. These are the two double inverted commas, and inside two double inverted comma, if I again put two double inverted comma, it will show you an error. Okay, so inside two there should be one. Okay, so here I need to mention the URL. So what will be the URL? So you see in URL.py, name is add written over here, right? So just go over here, sorry, here, and mention name as add. Okay. Now it will automatically populate, Django template language will automatically populate what it means by add. Okay. So just refresh this page and check your source code. You see it is slash add slash. Okay, I have not given any slash before and after the page, but I have written URL over here, because of which it recognizes slash add slash. That means after 127.0.0.1:8000, it will, if I click on this link, it will append slash add slash, and then it will send a request, right? So just click over here. You see, I'm able to get a add page, right? So this is the beauty of Django templating language. You need not do, or you need not know the entire path of the file. Usually when we develop our application on our, I'm sorry, just give me a minute. Yes. So it recognizes what's the path is or what's the URL of the page is from urls.py, and it links that particular page over there. Similar thing I want for my HTML form also. So after the form, if I want to go to my home page, means list of the tasks, check your views, URLs. Okay, and URL says there is an index name for a view. Okay, so I'll go here and I'll mention index. Okay, and we just refresh the page. Yes, the link is added. Check the source code. It says slash, right? You check now. I have written index over there, but it has appended index. How it has appended the index? It comes over here in URLs. It checked the name index. Okay, here the name index is written. Okay, and what is the URL pattern for that index? It's nothing. So when it's nothing but a slash, means you need to go back to the root directory. Okay, and if I click over here, it will take me to the list of tasks. So now we have done something good. Right now we have linked some pages with each other, and we are able to add a task. Right. So let's add a task into this. How to add a task? Now usually when we submit something, there are some methods of the form. Like how a form gets submitted, it's a very simple scenario, right? So form, we have to write an action page, right? And after writing an action page, inside the action page we code the logic for adding the form. But here method plays a very important role. There are two methods, get and post. Right now we are going to use get method because it's by defaultly coded over here, though I have not written any method, right? But I'm going to use that get method. But as a programmer, as a good programming practice, whenever you are sending some data from a form, you should use post method. Why? Many people know that when we use get method like this, okay, it shows the values also on the URL. So that's the one thing. But as a programmer, you should know the technical reason. See, there is a difference in get and post. If you want to check the difference, you can check their names itself. One name says it's a get. What do you mean by get? You want to get something. So as and when I send a request, okay, to get something, I should use a get method, and that is why it is a default method. Like if I click on this link, I want to get a page. What have I done over here? Add. I need to mention list of tasks over here. List of, okay, list of tasks. So I want to get a list of tasks. I want to get, right, and that is why by default when I click on this link, a get request will be sent to the server, and then that request will be accepted by my urls.py. It will be forwarded to the urls.py of my tasks, and from there a proper URL of that particular page will be taken, and then I'll be getting the list of tasks. This is the get request. But when I'm sending some information, that means I'm posting, like I'm posting a message on the group. What it means? I'm posting a message. I am posting means I'm sending some information. So that is why whenever you are using or whenever you are sending, submitting some information in any form, you should use post method, not get. Now there are times when we want to use get methods or we need to use get methods, like when we are working on Ajax, it's very easy to uh, put the values on the URL, and that is why we use get methods and all. But again, there are ways to write a post method in Ajax also. Okay, that's not our part. But I recommend, or as a good programmer, you need to write a method. Okay, and method should be post when you are submitting something. Okay, so let's write some code to add a task. Now go over here, views. Okay, and let's get the task. Okay, so task is equal to, now I have this request method, right? Request dot, okay, what I want, method equal to, oh, sorry, this. Okay, I need to check if the method is this or not. Okay, means request dot method is post. I if I want to check, I'll check it like this. So if request dot method, okay, request dot method equals to get, okay, then I can get the value from it. Okay, now there will be a problem. That is why I was hesitating to write this line. What's the problem will be? As and when I click on the link, as I told you, it will be a get request. So when it is a get request, if I'm requesting a parameter, it will send me an error. It will give me an error because I'm not putting anything. I'm just requesting a page. So it should not be a get request, right? So for here, I need to go to add.html. I need to mention over here form method equal to post. I need to give this post, right? And then I can anytime come to this views.py and I can write it like this. I'll write it. Okay, if request dot method is equal to post, okay, then I need to get the form data. So let's say talk about form equal to, okay, so new task form, I can do that, or I can just write uh, request dot post. Okay, I can write this, and in again, okay, fine. So instead of doing this, I'll tell you a simple thing. First of all, I need to cover forms uh, module. Okay, so let's cover up the forms module first, and then I'll tell you how can you check this. So we will cover up forms module first. Now in this views, okay, I'll write a form. So I can write a form over here. Okay, so for from Django import form. Okay, there is a inbuilt module or a package called as form in the Django, which enables us to write forms. Okay, now I'll write a class over here, and let's give a name new task form. Okay, and then I'll write form dot form. Now I'm extending this form class over here, and what I want over here is I want a task equals to form, okay, forms dot, I want a char field, a character field, field, char field, and I want a name to it. So LABLE is equal to new task. Okay, so I want this. This is my form. Now how to enter this? I'm sorry, this should be forms. Okay, and again this should also be forms. So forms. Now from where I brought this, now to go over here and type the Django forms. You will get a documentation of forms. Now here you will get each and everything regarding a form: get and post request, Django roles in forms, forms in Django, building forms, how will you build forms, okay, and how it will help you. Now see, getting request, and this is what I was writing. So request.method is equal to post, and if the form is valid, this is what we are going to do now. Okay, so this is the thing. Now let's code this. Okay, so I have written this thing. Okay, now what I want to check if, okay, if request dot method, okay, is equal to post. If it is post, then what we need to do, we need to create an object of a form. Object of which form? New task form. Okay, and then request dot post, I'll get it here. So what it means is, if somebody has posted something, like I have added a task into that particular add form, okay, that task will be accepted in the form of a form object. So form object says it has a field called as task. So that field is entered, and thus that attribute is set to the name of the task, and that particular object of a new task form is now inside the form. Okay, I need to check now. This Django is so beautiful that it has its own form validation module. Okay, so how to do it? If form dot is underscore valid, if the data is valid, then what it will do? It will fetch a task from it. Task equal to this form object dot cleaned, CANED, cleaned underscore data. It will clean the data. Cleaning means if somebody has entered a special case character, not the special case character, but spaces before and after the name of the task or something like that, it should clean, because sometimes what happens, somebody tries to attack your application by using SQL injection. So he enters some special case characters and all, and these that, and that is why the database gets penetrated, and you get an access to the unauthorized data, right? So here clean data cleans the data so that it will be secure. And then once I get this particular task, what I need to do, I need to add it inside the list of tasks. So task dot append, I need to append a task over here, task, right? Now after appending a task, I need to redirect user, right? So how to redirect? There is a function over here. So return HTTP response UNSE redirect. Okay, where it will redirect? It will redirect reverse, 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 to index page. Okay, I want index. Okay, so that means if I add a task, I should go back to the task list, right? I have coded one thing. Now what I need to do, I need to import this HTTP response redirect. From where I should import it? From django.http import HTTP response redirect. Okay. Similarly, I need to import reverse also. So from django dot URLs import reverse. Okay. Now I have coded one case, that is if the request is post. What if the request is get? What should I do? Right. So I should do it like this. So here I'll write else. I'll code this later, because in that case we need to check what exactly the error with the data. Okay, so I'll write else case later. I'll write else case for this. Else, if the request is not post. If the request is not post means it is the get request, right? So in that case, I have already written render request task slash add.html, right? But I need to pass a form, right? Because I'm not going to use this form anymore now. Where is that form? Yes, I am not going to use this form anymore, right? I'm going to use the form created by Django. Okay, so I'm going to pass a context over here, and that context will be form. Sorry, I should give a name, form. Okay, and the object of this new form. Okay, this object I'm going to put. Now you will say how the form will get populated over there. That is what we need to code again. So request.post will give me the data which I posted, because the request type is post. Now the request type is get, means I want to get an empty form, and that is why I'm not passing anything here, right? Yes. So how to do that? I'll go in my add page. Okay, add a task. Instead of this, I'll just write this for dot e. Here, let me check if it works. Okay. Label label, right? So views.py label label on server. Oh, what it says, syntax error, where add. Okay, add here. Yeah, here I'm missing. Yes, now it's running. Let's check. I'll click on this add page. Yes, it's giving me the form, right? Label for new task. So you see, what's the beauty? I have not written any HTML code over here. I have written a class over here, okay, a form class, and I have given a field over here, right? Now with this field, I am able to add the form inside my HTML page, right? So char field I have added. Okay. Now I'll just try to add a task in this. So let's say task 3, but there is no submit button, right? So if there is no submit button, I will not be able to submit it. So I need to code that submit button over here. So add.html, I have written a form. So in put type equals to submit. Okay. Here also I need to write form it is equal to post. Okay. In my form over here. Check out this code, source code. Okay, it has no form object, right? This is what we have commented. So that it will minimize our confusion. Right now, I have written a form object and I have mentioned a submit button. I have not completed it. Value equal to add a task. Right? This is what we have done. Now just refresh the code. Yes, it has added a button over here. I'll post it. You see, now this is an error again. It says forbidden 403. CSRF verification failed. Now what is the CSRF? Right? Why the CSRF is shown to us? Okay. Now, as I told you, Django has many things implemented, pre-implemented. Now, what are the things which are pre-implemented over here? This CSRF is nothing but cross-site request forgery. Okay, what is cross-site request forgery? Suppose I am logged into some internet banking. Okay, and in the internet banking, I want to transfer some funds. So as I'm logged in, if I want to transfer funds, I'll request or I'll try to send a get request to get a form where I'll be entering the account number to which I want to transfer the fund and the amount, right? So I'm talking about just a basic thing. So I'm requesting that particular page. I have received the page, but now there is an attacker who is tracking all my activities on the internet. Now he came to know that okay, now I have requested a page from where I'll be entering account number and name. Okay, and I'll be transferring some funds. Now he also tries to access the same page. Okay, and he tries to access the page. Now before I enter my account number, means the account number to which the funds is to be transferred and the amount, he enters account number of his own and amount, okay, on my behalf and submitted the page. Now what will happen over here? Server will check, okay, account number is received and amount is received, transfer the money. So it's an attack. To avoid that attack, this CSRF verification is required. Now what is CSRF verification? To each and every request, there will be assigned a token and that token will be maintained by Django middleware. So in the morning session, we have seen some settings.py where we have seen some middleware. Now this is a middleware, okay? And in the middleware, you can see CSRF view middleware, right? Now this middleware is responsible for providing CSRF tokens to each and every form, right? So this ensures that your application that you are building or developing will be secure application. Now how to tackle with this particular error? It's a very simple thing. Okay, so you go to your page, HTML page, okay, and inside this HTML page, after the for, you mention a simple tag CSRF underscore token token. Okay, CSRF token. Now, if you check our earlier code, it has form method post and then it has started with the actual fields of the form, right? Now I'll go back, I'll just reload this page. Now if I refresh this code, You see, it has added an input hidden field. Now, because it is hidden, it will not be shown on this particular form, but it will be shown in the code. So input hidden, name, this is CASRF middleware token, and the value is this. So now when I submit some information, my server will recognize, okay, the information is submitted. It has some data maintained with respect to this particular token, right? So it will check whether the data submitted by the one who is authorized to submit the data, means it will check this token value if it is matches or not. And accordingly, if a third person is again accessing the same page, to him, when server gives the page, for him this particular value of CSRF token will be different. For me it is different. So though he tries to submit his own account number and different amount, and he submits it on the server, it will be checked where what is the CSRF token. And if the CSRF token which he returns is different than the CSRF token for my form, then it will not be accepting the response, right? So I just enter a task 4 over here, and if I add a task, you see task 4 is added over here. It is that simple, right? I'll go back to my task again. I want to add again write a mail task. Okay, I'll click over here, add a task. Yes, task 6 is added. Write a mail. Right. So this is how we can use Django forms. Okay. Now this what is form.asp? Now form, form we have returned the context, right, from views. This is my form context. Okay, it is returning me a new form, right? It is returning me a new form, and that new form will be shown to me. Okay, but what is that form as p? Now as p is nothing but as paragraph. Okay, let me check the code if it gives you. Yes, it gives me. So p tag is already written over here. So why it is p tag? I have written form as p. As p means show me the form as a paragraph. Okay, show me the form as table is also there. So how to do that? Show me the form as table, that you need to find out in the break. Okay, I maybe ask you how to return a form in the form of a table. So I'll unmute you all, and I'll give you chance to tell me how to return a form in the form of a table. I told you how to return a form in the form of a paragraph. Okay. Now there is a simple thing remaining, how to delete. Now deletion is again a different thing. Like if I click a button, it should we should write a view. Now how to remove an object, or how to remove a yes element from the list, that you all know. You tackle with this particular question, you write a proper method. What I am going to show you now is a last topic of this session, and then we will continue in the afternoon. Okay. I have written something like form is valid. Okay. What do you mean by form is valid? Let's say mm, priority. Priority. Okay. And form dot I want a number field. Okay. Number working with forms, right? Integer, integer. Yes, right. So there is a thing called as integer field in the Django forms. Okay, and max length is also there. Value or something like that. Integer field in Django. I want to get a reference. Documentation is huge, and you can find anytime anything. Integer field. Integer field max value Django. Okay, it will tell you integer field name default main underscore value or max underscore value, right? Let's check if it gives us correct or not. Max value is equal to let's say I want 10 value. Okay, now I'll populate the form. Label I have not given. Label. Label is equal to priority. The max value I want this. Forms dot. Let's reload this page. Yes, I got a priority. Now if I check the source code of this, it will show you priority input type number, name is priority, and max is 10. Right now I have entered a value over here. Suppose let's say task 4, or let's say and I enter, I know what is the maximum value. Maximum value is 10. I'll enter 50. Okay, at task you see it will show you value must be less than or equal to 10. So it says me 10, value is 10. Okay, and because I mentioned over there max value is 10, it is taking automatically converting it in the form of HTML. So max 10 it is showing. Now here there is a catch. Suppose if I enter 10 over here, it will consider that value. Now as per my consideration or as per my page, max value is 10, right? Suddenly what happens, my project is in development and I change this value from 10 to 5. Okay, I'm changing the value over here. Now server is running. Okay, this page is an older version page. Now for this page, earlier when it was 10, if I enter 15, it was showing me the error message which was populated from HTML here on the client browser. What I'm right now talking about is a server validation. So now what is the maximum value at the server? It's 5. But what is the maximum value at client? It's 10. So for client, it is a valid value, right? So from here, I'll be able to submit valid value. So those who now for the students, those who are coding their project and they are implementing only client side validation, please include server side validation also, because this can happen. If client passes the validation, server will accept the data and your application may get problems, right? So server side validation. Now server says 5 is the maximum value, client says 10 is the maximum value. I'll try to add. Okay, I'm sorry, what is the error over here? Didn't return HTTP, it returned none, right? So this is what the server side validation is. I mentioned if the form is valid, right? So here what we are doing in terms of code is, you see, if form is valid, I have coded something, right? Now because my form is not valid, I have not written any case, right? So I need to write a case. Else what should be the value? Okay, I'll do nothing, but I'll just render the same thing. Okay, so I want to return render, go to that page again, and instead of returning this form, return him this form. So this form is nothing but the form with the data, earlier data, right? This. Okay, now see the magic. Now what I need to do, I'll make this again 10, because now form will get refreshed and it will get the latest value, latest version of the code. Okay, I'll refresh it. Okay, I'll again refresh it. So here it is 10 now. Now I'll change the value at server. So at server it is 5 now. So now this will pass the client side verification. Okay, new task, and I'll write 8 over here. This will pass the client side verification because it is less than 10. But at the server, it will not pass. You see, the same thing is returned to us, new task and 8. Ensure this value is less than or equal to 5. This error message I have not written anywhere. This is the error message returned from Django form. Now you see the power of Python and power of Django. It formulates the message for you. Okay, it checks the value at the server, and accordingly it gives you proper error message. Ensure this value is less than or equal to 5. Are you getting? Okay, so this is called as server side validation. From client side, now you see, if I put 6 over here, this is a client side thing. Value must be less than or equal to. This is a functionality implemented by HTML and by a browser. So browser says what is the max value and accordingly show him the value. Okay, so now then, okay, refresh the page. After refreshing the page, make it 5. Okay, I will try again one more time. Write a mail, and I'm mentioning 8 over here, task. Ensure that this value is less than 5. Now I'll again enter 4. Okay, task. Now it is added. Write a mail. Right? This is the server side validation. Now the problem is, I'll just copy this URL and I'll go on the another browser. Now in private, if I open this, it is giving me the same list. Now for me, fifth task, write a mail is okay. Now I'm opening another browser. That means I'm pretending that I am another user, right? And each and every user, if they are getting the same list of tasks, then it will be very difficult. Like if 50 people are using the same application, suppose in the morning I have added task number 1, in the next 15 minutes I may get 100 tasks which are not mine. So I need to keep all these tasks separate. Now one way is user authentication. Another way, if I don't want to log in but still I want to use it, use sessions, right? So how to do it with the sessions? There is a very simple thing to do it with the session. Okay, how to do it with the session? And with this, we will wind up this particular session, and then we will meet at the in the afternoon. Okay, so here I'll check. First of all, let me make this list empty on any task now. Okay, predefined. Uh, First of all, I need to add something into index. So as and when I'll come to this particular app index page, at that time only I'll be checking if tasks tasks if tasks not in request dot session. Okay, then what to do? Request dot session. Now session is a dictionary. Okay, task, okay, equal to add an empty list. Add an empty list, and then here pass that empty list instead of this list. Okay, so request session this, because I need to see the list, no? And that list should be there in the sessions, right? Similarly, in add, what I'm going to do, instead of this tasks dot append, I'll say this. Okay, so what I'm doing now, as soon as I reach on the index page, it will check if the tasks is there in the list of session or not. If there is no tasks in the session, it will add an empty list in that particular session and it will return it over there. All right, so it will add, and then yeah, that's it. So let's check the code now. 8,000. Uh-oh. What's the error? No such table. Django underscore session. Session dot save. So many number of errors are there. Right. So we need to import something. What we need to import? We need to import the sessions. So there is nothing called as session. Oh yes, I figured out. So here, if you see, this is the middleware, and in the middleware there is something called as session middleware, right? So session is stored somewhere on your local server, and for that, I think we need migrations. So there is a command called as migrations. Okay, make migrations. So the command is python manage.py migrate. Okay, now make migration command will be used later in the next session, in the afternoon session, but now we can use this migrate. Okay, if I type all this, it will show you what is being migrated. Okay, so all these files are getting migrated. Okay, permission, initial, username, permissions, and so on. Okay, now let's check if I am able to. If I am not able to, we will continue in the afternoon session. Okay, run server. Okay, now go back. Okay, let's say yes, I'm here on the page. List of your tasks. Now there is no task assigned. Okay, let me check with this also. This is another user. Huh? You consider this as another user. There is no task at all. Let me add a task. I don't want this priority right now. Yes, so let's comment this line. Okay, there is no priority right now, and I want to add a task. Write a mail. Okay, add task. Oops, I'm still not able to add. Okay, so let's check over here. Here also I'll not be able to add. Write a mail, add a task. What is wrong with the code? Request of session task, product and the task. Filling data task, right? Reverse index. And now if I go over here, here also it's not showing, right? I'm getting just a redirection over here. I am adding it, right? I'm writing reverse also. And me try it another way. Okay. Plus equal to, and I'll say this task. Form.clean data task. I'm getting request.session task. In that task list, I'm just appending task over here, and then I'm returning HTTP response redirect reverse RSE index. Fine, this should work. Let it be. If it's not working, I'll figure it out. Just add. Write a new task. I have added. Yes, now it's added. So there are different ways to do that. Okay. If I go over here for this user, if I refresh this page, there is nothing. For this user, again I can say write a paper. Okay. Add a task. Write a paper is a task with this. For this user, again I'll say write an assignment. And you see, I have added 2 tasks for this user, whereas for this user, there is only 1 task. Right? So with the sessions, without login, you can implement tasks. Okay. With the forms, you can write forms without using an HTML form. You can implement server-side validation. All these things is possible with the Django. Now we will end this or wrap this particular project over here, and we will meet in the afternoon where we will see how to code a project with the Django and Bootstrap. So with good visual effects, I can say that this is a complete project, but it's ugly. It's literally ugly, right? We need to add some visual effects into it, and based on the visual effects, we will see how can we go with the visual effects and along with the models. Okay, so we will connect right back at 3 p.m. Okay, so from 3 to 5, we will be conducting another session. So you all can leave this meeting and please join it at 3 o'clock. Thank you.